everybody, it's Sherry with Alleged Actually. Thank you for coming back. As I promised, we are back today to talk about Real Housewives in New Jersey. But before we get into that, I have a couple things I want to talk about. Number one, as always, if you're new, welcome. What we do over here is reality TV recaps. We do pop culture segments, and we are now getting into bringing you exciting, riveting, and compelling interviews. Which brings me to my next announcement. We're going to be dropping soon an interview with one of the family members from the acclaimed documentary that is currently airing on Prime Video called Silver Dollar Road. And this documentary is extremely important for all of you out there, particularly Black families, particularly low-income families that find themselves with land in rural communities, particularly near water or prime real estate that's been passed down to you by a descendant, and particularly those of us that have had that happen through heirs property. This is not something that gets enough attention, and kudos to the Reels family and this documentary that is well done. It is very just, it gets you to the point where at points you're outraged, you find yourself sad, and you find yourself inspired. And it's a very important story that here at Alleged Actually, we want to make sure that we highlight. If you haven't seen the documentary, we hope after you see this interview, you run right over there to Prime Video and check it out. And then not only that, we hope that you will join us in supporting the Reels family in their fight for what is rightfully theirs. So that is an exciting interview that is coming very soon. I will drop a trailer and I will definitely be promoting that. So make sure when we have that ready for you that you're ready to join us and watch that. Today, like I said, we are doing Real Housewives of New Jersey as part 2 of our Bravo Monday. Doing it in one video is just way too long, so we're breaking them up. Yesterday, we did Summer House Martha's Vineyard. If you haven't, go ahead and watch that. That was posted on yesterday. That was quite the episode, as was Real Housewives of New Jersey. So, guys, real quick, go ahead. If you're new, told you what we do over here. My actualizers, my family out there, thanks for coming back. Keep on hitting that like button and hit the notification bell so that when I drop new content, you'll be the first to see it. Of course, we want the new guys and girls to go ahead and subscribe to us and then share with the masses. That's all I can ask you for. That's how you support us. So we appreciate those that already have and those that will. Thank you. Let's get down to it though. I told you guys like last week when I dropped my very first recap of the first episode of the new season of Real Housewives of New Jersey that though we're not new to the drama of, the fact that Joe and his sister Teresa, Judice, Joe Gorga do not get along, and really mainly Melissa Gorga and Teresa seem to just flat out hate each other. That sadly was solidified on Watch What Happens Live that aired on Sunday night. Melissa Gorga and Meghan McCain were on. If you haven't seen it, Melissa was pretty adamant that there will be no reconciliation between her and Teresa, which doesn't really come as a shock, but it does bear the question, what is the future for Real Housewives of New Jersey? How much more of this kind of storyline are we, the fans, going to be able to take? I don't know. There's some clear lines divided on the cast, and, they aren't the first one, so let's just be clear. New Jersey's not the first. We had the same thing over at Potomac. We've had it at Atlanta. We have it at Vanderpump Rules. But it's kind of getting old, guys. So I don't know what the future of Real Housewives of New Jersey will be, but let's get into the episode and let's talk about what happened on Sunday night. So I'm just going to really hit the highlights, and then we're going to kind of talk, and I want you guys to give me your feedback in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. what you're thinking about the future of the show will be. How do you feel about Teresa and Melissa's seemingly never-ending feud? And the sadness of an actual sibling rivalry that won't die. And as a result, two families that are broken apart. It's just sad. Really, one family broken apart. And their parents are no longer with us. And I imagine that they would really, really not want that. Though, you know, it's nothing new. It was still kind of brewing when they were still alive. But I imagine they would be heartbroken to see where they are now. But y'all, that's neither here nor there. Let's get into the episode. So Danielle, we're going to go in. She had her little girl, Valentina, out. Valentina has her an agent, honey. She is ready to be booked and busy. And so she's out getting some headshots done. She's at a photographer, getting ready. You know, Danielle has her own line, Bougie Babies, and they are actually, or Bougie Kids, I'm sorry, and they are actually gearing up for New York Fashion Week, which is a big, big deal. So cute little Valentina does her headshot thing. And then we go over and we see Dolores and Paul. And Dolores is getting ready to get back into real estate. Now, y'all, I don't know. Like I said, sometimes I have to go back and watch old seasons. I don't remember Dolores being in real estate, but she said she definitely had helped her prior boyfriend, David, and apparently Frank, who was into like flipping homes or like doing the construction piece of it, that they all did deals together. So apparently she's a real estate agent, and that's cool. And she's now getting back into that. And she's lets us in on the fact that she's now been living with Paul for a year now. But she still wants to maintain her independence. Now, with him still being married, yes, Dolores, independence is key. Because, I mean, sure, it looks like you'll be heading that way, but when a man has not even bothered to file for divorce over a 10-year time span, that would be concerning to me. And so at least I don't think Dolores is going in as blind as she did with the doctor. I just don't want her to let Paul waste a whole lot of her time. To me, it looks like that's not going to be the case. I think Paul may be a stand-up guy and he's going to do the right thing by her. But y'all, you never know. So, Dolores, I'm here for you. Definitely going ahead and keeping your career alive. Make your own money. And she says that self-sufficiency is very important to her, as it should be. And she always wants to be able to take care of herself. Child, based on the track record with the men in her life, she should be. And I hate that because Dolores is beautiful and she deserves a lot better than what she seems to be getting. I mean, the guys start off just looking great and treating her great. And then it's like we get at this point of stalling. I just feel like, you know, at her age, I mean, her age is my age. I mean, we're both in our 50s. I don't know how much time I would give a guy to string me along. And I'm not saying that he's doing that. I'm saying, particularly with what she went through with her ex-boyfriend that never ended up in marriage. You know, they built the whole house together, that whole nine. I would have my antennas up, which is probably why she's letting everybody know, honey, she's getting her real estate on, and she is not at all trying to depend on Mr. Paul until that ring is on her finger. And even then, she wants to always be able to take care of herself. So shout out to you, Dolores, and women out there. That's the way to go. You know, make sure you have something of your own. There's that. Then we go over to Teresa and Louis. They are getting ready to attend an event that is for Louis' dad, celebrating 8 years of his sobriety. Apparently, he had suffered from alcoholism for years, which had at one point put a strain on his and Louis' relationship. But at this point, he's celebrating 8 years of sobriety, which is a wonderful thing. And she also mentions how Gabriella is getting ready to go off to school now. in just 5 days. Y'all, this seems to really be an emotional time for them. I mean, Gia, and we see that Gia has graduated from Rutgers. They talk about that. But Rutgers is not that far from where they are. And I guess it's just the fact that, you know, Gabriella will be going so far away. And apparently, according to Teresa, she's just kind of like been their anchor. Teresa even mentions that Gabriella reminds her of her mother. So she must be, because out of all the girls, she must be the one that kind of centers Teresa, takes care of her. She did mention when she was locked up that Gabriella emailed her every single day. So, you know, when you have multiple kids, you have different relationships with each one of your children. Seems like Teresa and Gabriella really have, you know, that special bond. So it's hard to see her go. Then we go over to Joe and Melissa. It's Antonia's 18th birthday, y'all. These kids are just growing up. I mean, they talked about on Watch What Happens Live, Andy was saying that he had actually been kind of going back and watching some of the old episodes of Real Housewives of New Jersey. And he just couldn't believe, you know, just like a few seasons ago where it seemed like, you know, they were so small and they're like, you know, growing up like literally like lightning. And the funny thing was, even Melissa said, you know, if you even look at them last season, they look so much bigger. And Meghan McCain, who was also on Watch What Happens Live. Sorry, guys, I'm not a fan. But she said, you know, the boys, they look like men now. And I was thinking the same thing. Remember how little those boys were? Because, I mean, they're short like their dad, but now they look like men. I was like, okay. But that's what happens, y'all. You blink, and your children aren't babies anymore. So, Antonia's turning 18. Melissa's having a gathering for her family to celebrate Antonia. And sadly, there's nobody there from Joe's side. So, of course, Melissa's mom and her sisters and her cousin Nick and his partner are there. And Melissa just basically, you know, starts to get emotional about how much this family's embraced Joe, and particularly her cousin Nick, who has asked Joe to officiate his wedding to his partner. And in the same breath, Nick becomes very emotional in the fact that when he came out, how open, loving, and embracing Joe was. Beautiful moment. At least it seems that Melissa's family really love and embrace Joe Gorga. You know, he puts on a tough front about the fact that him and Teresa are estranged. And, you know, there's no secret that he doesn't like Louis. And there was no secret that he didn't like Joe Giudice. But that's his sister, y'all. And you know that's got to hurt. So my heart bleeds for both of them. I think they both have this really tough exterior. And they're both so proud that neither wants to bend. But what a shame, because life as we know it can change in the blink of an eye. You know, as time goes by, those that you love, you can miss out on those opportunities to say I'm sorry or, you know, make up for lost time. So despite what Melissa says about the two of them not reconciling, her and Teresa, I sincerely hope that Teresa and Joe Gorga do. And that's just Sherry from Alleged Actually's opinion. So from there, we're back to Teresa. And she's setting up to have a spa event for Danielle and Jennifer. And she's got spa tables up. And child, apparently they are doing this procedure, some kind of sculpting procedure that tones your glutes. Child. Okay. Gia is also there, and they're in the kitchen and that area while the technicians are setting up. And we find out that Gia has graduated from Rutgers, and she graduated as a criminal justice major. She's getting ready to sit for the LSAT, which is the test that prepares you for law school. And her goal is to work in immigration law. And of course, that was inspired because of what happened to her father, Joe Giudice. As you guys may know, when he was convicted and then sentenced to prison, because he was not an American citizen, he was extradited or deported, back to Italy. And she wants to be, of course, on the side of the law that fights for those individuals that have been in the States for years and years to be able to be granted their, American citizenship. Child, back to this sculpting thing. Honey, is this contraption? Teresa was the first on the table. She gets naked from the bottom down, honey. And they put these, I don't know, like big probe things on either side of your buttocks. And they say it's just like doing like a million squats. And the intensity of it seemed like it looked painful. Child, apparently you must get your glutes right, because Teresa has a tight little butt, and Teresa's like about my age, honey. I mean, it takes a little more effort to get things tight than what it used to. Now, I don't know if I got the ability to have folks come in and put machines in on my butt to get it tight, but I do have some exercise equipment in my exercise room. I probably need to hop on and make that happen, because I was feeling like, yeah, Sherry, you might want to. That was inspiring, though they were on a table, but your girl might have to, get back in that gym. So then we go on over, honey, to Margaret. Margaret's playing pickleball, and Rachel and Melissa join her. And for those that don't know what pickleball is, I just learned about pickleball from Vanderpump Rules a couple 3 seasons ago, honey. That is a thing. It is a lot like tennis with like a smaller racket. They say it's easier. Apparently is a big thing with people with money. So I'm gonna have to get my pickleball on, I need to learn. But it looks fun. So they were out there playing pickleball. Then we, how scenes jump. So I'm going to jump with it, kind of give you guys like what happened. We're back to Teresa and the spa day. And Jennifer Aiden is also there. Mentions the rumor again about John Fuda. About the whole double dildo joke. Jen really gets on my nerves, y'all. There were at times I found her in the past to be comedic relief a little. Her family has the over-the-top home and decor and all that. But as she's gotten closer to Teresa, she's just become more and more obnoxious. And her, Teresa and her energy together become very middle school mean girl. And I'm not really here for it. Have y'all noticed, and we'll get into this, that last episode and then again Sunday night's episode, that Bill Aiden is missing, that he is not filming yet. Now, child, that can change, but as you know, Bill Aiden was a staple with the guys. So like whatever event they were doing or going to, Bill always showed up because he was down with the fellas, Joe Gorgas of it all. Frank, when he was there, Frank is also not filming, but we do have Paul now with Dolores. And so that makes sense. I don't know that Paul would appreciate Frank and Dolores' togetherness like her previous boyfriend did. Paul doesn't seem like he's equally as in love with Frank as her ex-boyfriend, the doctor, did. So that could be why that is. But at any rate, so we come back over and we talk about the fact that Melissa is telling the girls, Rachel and Marge, that her mom fell. That her mom fell actually while holding one of the grandchildren and broke her elbows. And so she was planning a daytime party at the shore. And so she's invited the girls to come down to her shore house for her daytime party. And then we go back over to Teresa. It's back and forth, how the scenes go. And now it's Danielle's turn to get on that table, honey, and get her butt nice and sculpted. And then she tells them about her idea for a party. And, Teresa's telling her that, look, I don't want to be that, that girl, that bee that says, who you can be in friends with or who you can invite to your own party. Because I'm thinking to myself, because you can't. But Danielle is having this party because about 8 years ago, her husband had an issue with his brain that caused him to have brain surgery. He came out of his surgery wonderfully by God's grace, and she is celebrating his life. And honey, when you're celebrating life and, beating something as serious as, a tumor on your brain, and this man is healthy, good, back living a good life, you certainly don't want to lead with who can and can't come, backbiting and being hateful. This is a celebration of life, right? So Danielle's all about including everybody, and Teresa's already starting with, I don't want to tell you not to, but anyway. So, but that's the deal. She's going to have her party too, and all of this is going to take place out on the shore. So those are the ladies that have the shore houses, are getting their shore houses ready. And so we go over to Rachel and John, Fuda, and they have a shore house. And so at theirs, they also have, at theirs, they have theirs, and then Jennifer Aiden has her shore house. And so they're all headed that way. They show Teresa, Louie, and Jennifer arriving with Dolores, and Bill is not there again. Like I told you, Bill is not showing up this season so far. Now we're only on episode 2, so he may still show up. So Melissa's getting her shore house together, and Margaret and her husband Joe show up, and Paulie is coming to Melissa's because he wants to hang out with Joe, but he's staying over at Jennifer's because that's where Dolores is going, because that's where Teresa's at. Dolores is Switzerland, but her real loyalty does lie with Teresa. They've known each other for years, honey. They're from Patterson, New Jersey. They go way, way back. So there's that. Then the Fudas at their shore house, the Fesslers come. So Jen Fessler and her husband Jeff Fessler show up. And Rachel is also there. And they discuss Teresa. And Jen tries to explain to them, or to Rachel, how clearly she likes Teresa, y'all. And I mean, she's trying to be down with both groups to a degree, but it's clear that Jen Fessler really likes Teresa, which does not make Rachel a fan. But she's trying to explain, when you're arguing with Teresa, it's her defense mechanism to say something that, really goes low. They're not buying it. Rachel's like, please, I don't think you should be able to explain her behavior. Marge kind of feels the same way. So at this point, Danielle and Nate show up. It is clear that Danielle and Rachel are working on their friendship. Like I told you last week, it was in the works, and then it kind of got derailed by them having so many people in their ear. So being that they are probably around the same age, both have young kids, kind of makes sense. If they can make it work, they should make it work. So they're trying. And Danielle just asked, look, I really want everybody to put their stuff to the side and just be cool, because this party is about Nate, her husband. And like I said, a celebration of life. You can go back to hating each other after the party, right? So back at Melissa's house, they're doing their little antics like Joe does. He finds one of Marge's wigs and puts it on. And then Danielle arrives over there. So she went over to Jen Aiden's, and now she's back over to Melissa's to also talk to them. And then we have Teresa, Jen, and Dolores together, and they toast to Nate's life. And then they drive over to Danielle's party. So she has an area set up, beautifully done for the party. She's got like this amazing setup and food, and she even has a black choir that comes up from DC to sing. I mean, the whole thing was beautifully done, and from, I think, a very wholesome, good place. Could have been the good start of maybe some dialogue that made some sense, that wasn't so hateful. I mean, if ever you're going to put your best foot forward and, you know, try to get along, you would think something under that theme, or under, you know, celebrating life and celebrating someone overcoming something so serious that could have led to their death, would put you in the spirit of forgiveness or openness or what have you. But child, no ma'am. So it seems like Danielle did say, though, when they're all on their way over, she does let the group know, hey, I didn't invite Jackie. And she's like, I hope that's okay. And, you know, Rachel's like, you know, they said, or Danielle was like, you know, Jackie was just really mean to me in Ireland. And so, guys, if y'all remember when they took the trip to Ireland, which was hosted by Dolores, of course, because she's with the big old Irish Polly, that Jackie was mean to Danielle. And she said she talked about the way she dressed, the way she talked. Jackie is kind of the interesting character. I'm on the fence with, I don't dislike her like I do Margaret, but Jackie's clearly very, hold on guys. Sorry, I need a little bit of water, but Jackie's clearly very, she's an intellectual. And when she really gets mad and wants to separate herself from these girls, boy, does she come at them with that, you know, intellect, that wit that goes over some of their heads. Maybe she can come off as condescending a little bit. And so with that being said, she just wasn't very welcoming to Danielle, and Danielle does not want her at her husband's celebration of life. She wants people that are genuinely happy for him, and that is going to, even if they don't like each other, are going to mutually be supportive of her cause. Totally get it. So they get to the party and everybody pretty much greets each other. And Danielle introduces her friend to the group. I didn't catch the friend's name. So if you guys did, put it in the comments. Because, honey, I was trying to watch both shows and get them ready. I told you when you're recapping, it's hard to catch everything. But apparently she knew this friend through a neighbor and a good friend of hers. And attractive girl. Looks like she's going to be a friend of the show, because they were really feeling her in on kind of what's been going on, who likes who and who doesn't. So I think she's going to stick around. So I'm sure by next week I'll have a name for you and kind of where we stand with her. But then at this point, Jen Fessler fills this young lady in on the tension in the group. Then you have Louis, Teresa, and Danielle arriving. And soon as Teresa comes in, Jen Fessler gets up and goes and greets them. Jen and Margaret also greet each other. Because, you know, like I said, her and Margaret are supposed to be really good friends. And then, no, I'm sorry, not Jen Fessler. She gets up, Jen Aiden goes over to greet Margaret. And that's when Margaret asks, where's Bill? And she says that Bill's still in surgery. I believe that was her excuse for last week. Him not showing up with her to the event last week. He could be, y'all. He's a plastic surgeon, but, you know, he found ways to get to events and still be a plastic surgeon last season. So I really think the backlash of their affair being exposed and some of the stuff with Jennifer and him and, you know, the light he might have been painted in, I don't think he's interested in really being a part of it this season. But like I said, that is subject to change, so we'll keep checking it out. And Louis, Nate, Paul, and another friend gather for a drink. And then this is when Danielle introduces the black choir that they have asked to come down from DC. And they sing a very inspirational song, gospel song. Y'all, is it just me? And look, I'm not trying to be funny. But it's like, why have they all started dancing like it was a club tune instead of, child, I don't think they knew what to do with it. Like, and I'm not going to say it's a race thing, whatever. I just don't think they knew what to do with it. You know, gospel's soulful, and certainly, you know, it has its beat and all that. But that don't mean how you start breaking it down. I mean, and they were not, you know, they were couple dancing and dancing, child. I don't know. But celebration is a celebration. It was inspirational. I'm not mad. I just found it funny because to me, it seemed like they just didn't know what to do with that. Anyway. At this point, Jen Fessler and Teresa go talk. And then Rachel, the camera pans to Rachel, and she's got the most sour look on her face, like, and she literally says, what the F is she doing? Because, honey, Rachel does not want her friend Jen Fessler over there, you know, hanging out with the enemy. So Teresa wants to ask Jen about the gathering at Margaret's before the reunion, child. They're still on that. And she was, you know, wanting to know, did they in fact get together to prepare to have statements to bring her and Louis down? And she says, you know, that when she heard about it, that she also heard that Jen had said to someone, you did not execute the plan properly. Okay. So, to give y'all some background, supposedly they met at Margaret's house before they went to film the reunion in New York. And because Louis had hired a private detective to try to do background checks on all of them and to get into their background, they had already kind of come together to also have some stuff on Louis that they were going to use as a rebuttal and to defend themselves and to bring him down, and Teresa as well. And apparently it just didn't go down the way they had discussed at the gathering at Margaret's. And she said that that's not what she meant. Jen tries to clear it up, that that's not what she meant. She said it was more like Margaret had all these envelopes that was supposed to be full of all this information. And she was like, basically, you didn't use them. You did nothing with them. So, like, what was the point? So, she asked Jen if she thinks that Louis called Margaret's son, you know, and harassed him and threatened him. And Jen basically said, because you swore on your girl's life, or she didn't say on life, she said, because you swore on your daughters, I believe you. Okay. And Jen says she likes Teresa. And, you know, there you find a very distraught Rachel over there, looking very, very angry. So they're still in that same group where Danielle's friend, who I do not have her name yet, guys, but I will next week. But John asked Danielle, look, if you had Danielle's friend, if you had someone that defamed your husband, and that was out spreading information on your husband, that, you know, had him out here looking crazy in these streets, you know, wouldn't you be upset? And she said, of course, you know, she would defend her husband till the end. And basically, at this point, Rachel is starting to question her friendship with Jen Fessler. And that's basically how the episode ended. Guys, it's going to be a whole lot more of the same of this. You know, I see more events, more opportunities for one side to be talking about the other. Clearly, there's going to be the thing with John Fuda and Teresa and Jennifer Aiden, you know, John and Rachel Fuda against them. You know, her with his background. And Rachel cleared it up that he was 17 years old and he got caught selling marijuana. He did his time. He made a bad decision as a teenager. And, you know, for her to keep throwing around saying he was the biggest drug dealer in their county. And, you know, it's just nasty. I don't know what's true and what's not, but it's clear that this is what we're going to get this season. We're going to get a lot of backbiting. We're going to get a lot of you know, trying to expose each other. Teresa also in the episode made a comment to the ladies that her and Louis had some information on Margaret that she was going to drop, that she couldn't drop just yet because of some legal stuff involved. But once she was cleared to, everybody is going to see what a liar Margaret is. So y'all, I don't know. I mean, you know, for some people, that's their thing. And, you know, you want to see the tea. And I'm down for the tea. But it just seems like it's always going to be a one-up. Like, who's going to get more dirt on the other? Who's going to make either side look worse? I don't know if that's something that is going to keep my attention all season. I said I'm going to start off, and, you know, the same way I did with Potomac. I started off, hopped off, came back for y'all when it seemed like it was worthy of your time. It's kind of where I'm at with Real Housewives of New Jersey. I'm going to watch again next week, and we're going to see. But to be honest, if we continue to see more of this, I'm not sure I'm here for it, guys. Put in the comments how you feel. What do you guys think about the whole Teresa, Jennifer, Aiden thing versus China, Rachel, Fuda? What do you guys think about the Fudas? What do you think about Jen Fessler? The fact that she's kind of on both sides. I think it's fine, you know, but how's it going to work out for this season for her? What do you think about Margaret? Is it an unpopular opinion I have, or are you over her? I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think of the show so far. Do you want me to keep recapping? I'm gonna give it another week, and then we'll reassess, actualizers. We'll talk about it. But let me know what you thought. What you think about the episode last night. Give me your thoughts. And that's all I have on that, guys. Keep the lookout for the interview. I'm going to start promoting that. That's going to drop very soon. So I want you guys to please look out for that. We're getting our interviewing chops together. We're going to bring you more of that kind of content too in the near future. So thank you for watching. As always, we love you. We see you. And we thank God for each one of you. And again, keep giving us feedback. Put it in the comments. We read them all and we try to make sure we answer you all. So please don't hesitate to comment. And this has been part 2 of Bravo Monday. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I will see you back. I will drop you some info of when our interview is going to drop so you can join us. Y'all have a great day. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share with the masses. Y'all be good. I'll see you next time.